LeBron James. The name alone carries colossal weight. It's the definition of an on-court empire. A player who, for over 2 decades, dictated absolutely every single rule of the game, shaped the market, and redefined what it means to be an elite athlete in global sports. But right now, at this exact moment, something deeply bizarre is happening behind the scenes in the NBA. Something that almost no one in the sports media or the fan base can quite digest or make sense of. For the first time since 2018, LeBron James is hitting the open market. He is an unrestricted free agent. And the inside scoop leaking out of Los Angeles is absolutely shocking. He has officially informed the Lakers front office that he will not be returning to Southern California, capping off a historic 8-year run with the purple and gold. But my friends, what's turning the entire league upside down isn't just his exit from LA, it's what comes next. What makes this current situation truly wild, almost incomprehensible to financial and sports analysts alike, is the age factor, combined with his out-of-this-world production. We are talking about a 41-year-old man, an athlete about to enter his 24th season in the most competitive, physically brutal basketball league on the planet. And what were his numbers last season? He finished the year averaging an absurd 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds per game, all while shooting an impressive 51.5% from the field. In plain English, LeBron James is still a force of nature on the court, a player capable of shifting the destiny of any basketball franchise on earth. A source extremely close to the situation broke it all down for ESPN's Dave McMenamin, revealing that the King is looking for just one thing in his next destination. He wants to play, quote, meaningful and competitive basketball. But if he's still this dominant, if he's still putting up numbers worthy of a max contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars, why on earth has his agent, Rich Paul, spent the last few weeks actively talking to no fewer than 27 different teams across the league? 27 teams. Stop and think about that number for a second. That is nearly the entire NBA. This kind of market behavior looks nothing like a traditional bidding war for a superstar trying to secure the biggest bag possible to ride off into the sunset at the top of the economic pyramid. This looks like something else entirely. It's a scenario that completely defies sports business logic. Renowned NBA insiders like Brian Windhorst and Bobby Marks are already losing sleep trying to crack the code behind this unprecedented, historic move. And the theory gaining serious traction around the league is enough to give you chills. Could it be that for LeBron James, the money, which has always been a symbol of status and power throughout his career, has simply stopped being the #1 priority? And if it's not the money driving the Kings' decisions this offseason, what exactly is he chasing with this much obsession? That is the million-dollar question echoing through every front office, locker room, and sports debate show in the country. If the King is genuinely willing to walk away from the astronomical money he could easily extract from any franchise desperate for ratings and relevance just to chase this so-called meaningful basketball, we aren't looking at a simple jersey swap. This is a chess move, a meticulously calculated blueprint. But what is the endgame here? And what does meaningful basketball even mean to a man who already has 4 championship rings, 4 finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs, and the league's all-time scoring record? The cold, hard truth is that for LeBron James, at this stage of his life and career, meaningful basketball might be something that goes way beyond inflated individual stats, media spotlights, or billion-dollar contracts. It's the hunt for number 5. It's a relentless, almost obsessive drive for one more ring to permanently cement his name at the absolute apex of sports history. And to achieve that ultimate glory, the King seems willing to do the unthinkable: sign for the veteran minimum. He is considering becoming a luxury piece, a high-end role player on a team that already has a championship-ready foundation built and waiting. Something that no one in their right mind ever imagined he would do. The burning question hanging in the air isn't just about a team's salary cap. It's what is the actual price he's willing to pay for one more shot at immortality? When you look at the options on the table, the picture gets even more fascinating and complex. The market is locking its eyes on 6 potential finalists ready to welcome the king. And every single one of these teams presents a financial and basketball landscape that perfectly illustrates the scale of the sacrifice LeBron might be about to make. Let's start by breaking down the possibility of a historic third stint with the franchise that changed his life and drafted him all the way back in 2003, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Analysts Bobby Marks and Brian Windhorst have dissected this option, and the scenario is intriguing. Financially, the Cavaliers are in a spot where James Harden's next contract, after turning down his $42 million player option, will dictate the rules. If Cleveland wants to offer LeBron anything more than the $3.9 million vet minimum exception, they'd have to ship out pieces like Max Strus or Dennis Schroeder to clear hard cap space. But Cleveland's real pitch to James isn't found on a spreadsheet. It's pure emotion. It's the perfect one last ride home narrative. LeBron played 11 seasons and over 1,000 games for Cleveland. His custom-built estate is right outside of Akron, just minutes away from the practice facility. Plus, their current roster is incredibly young, long, and talented, featuring elite rim protectors like Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, playmakers like Harden and Schroeder, and a premier scorer in Donovan Mitchell. It would instantly slot LeBron into a team ready to contend for the Eastern Conference Finals, completely stripping away the pressure of having to carry a franchise on his back. But what if he decides to head out west and join the team that has dominated pure basketball circles over the last few years? We're talking about the Denver Nuggets. Now, their financial situation is a total horror movie. Denver is suffocating under the salary cap, even after letting go of veteran pieces. They are deep into the luxury tax and face the very real threat of a nearly $175 million tax bill if they re-sign their young talent to big deals. Because of this brutal financial crunch, the only thing the Nuggets can legally offer LeBron James is the $3.9 million veteran minimum. But think about the basketball pitch Denver can make to the king. LeBron has always been obsessed with basketball IQ. He constantly preaches in interviews that his ultimate dream is to play alongside smart players who understand spacing, cuts, and flow without needing to be micromanaged. And Denver features Nikola Jokic, one of the most brilliant, genius basketball minds the world has ever seen. Sharing a court with LeBron James and Nikola Jokic would be an absolute dream for any basketball purist. On top of that, having a physical forward like Aaron Gordon means LeBron wouldn't have to burn precious energy guarding the opposing team's best perimeter scorer, while Jamal Murray could run the pick and roll with James in the exact same devastating fashion he does with Jokic. The Nuggets are coming off consecutive years of frustration since their title run, failing to even make it back to the Western Conference Finals, and they desperately need a major spark. LeBron would become the greatest minimum contract player in NBA history, rescuing Denver and putting himself on a direct track to another ring. Another scenario that feels straight out of a video game is a move to San Francisco to play for the Golden State Warriors. Just like their rivals, the Warriors are completely hard-capped and only have the $3.9 million minimum exception to offer, unless they pull off complex trades involving young assets like Moses Moody to open up a $6 million window. But the Golden State pitch isn't about the money, it's about chemistry and history. LeBron James and Stephen Curry spearheaded one of the greatest rivalries in sports history during the finals matchups of the last decade. But at the 2024 Olympics, they finally shared the court, and the world witnessed pure magic. LeBron took home tournament MVP honors, and Curry absolutely ignited in the medal rounds, playing right by his side. Stephen Curry himself dropped a recent quote that perfectly captures how the Warriors are trying to court the king. He said the pitch is simple. It's about wanting to play good basketball, being around people who know how to play the game the right way, and raising the competitive bar, while jokingly throwing in a mention of the Bay Area's world-class golf courses. Add in LeBron's deep, long-standing friendship with Draymond Green, and you have a flawless veteran fit. Even with the roster managing injuries to other stars, the Warriors front office is willing to move heaven and earth, including future first-round picks, to surround Curry and potentially LeBron with the pieces needed to chase one more championship before their eras come to a close. And how about a South Beach reunion with the Miami Heat? The Heat have a slightly better financial hand than the other contenders, able to carve out around $7 million to offer the king without triggering a hard cap nightmare. And Miami's pitch to James is enough to make any Hoops fan lose their mind. Imagine a defensive and transition frontcourt made up of LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bam Adebayo. That would easily be the most athletic, dominant, and versatile frontcourt trio in the history of the NBA. Defensively, Antetokounmpo and Adebayo would shoulder the heavy lifting of protecting the paint and switching on to perimeter threats, leaving LeBron free to roam, read passing lanes, and play safety. The fast break offense for this team would be an unstoppable nightmare. Sure, there are real questions about floor spacing and perimeter shooting on a roster that got stripped down a bit after the blockbuster trade to land Giannis in Florida. But when you put your faith in mastermind coaching like Eric Spoelstra and a legendary executive like Pat Riley, you know they will squeeze out 100% efficiency. The only real question mark would be the Heat's new offensive system, which shifts to a style that practically eliminates the traditional pick and roll, a play LeBron has used to dominate for over 2 decades. It would be a drastic stylistic adjustment for the king. Running as a dark horse, but holding some incredibly solid arguments, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves are backed up against the league's strict second apron rules, meaning they too can only dangle the standard $3.9 million minimum. But their basketball argument is incredibly seductive for an aging superstar looking to preserve his body. Minnesota boasts Anthony Edwards, one of the most explosive, charismatic young superstars in the game today, alongside Rudy Gobert, an elite rim protector who guarantees a historic defense. Edwards and LeBron forged a massive connection and an obvious chemistry during their Olympic gold medal run. And having a young defensive stopper like Jaden McDaniels on the wing would ensure LeBron doesn't have to exhaust himself guarding lightning-fast perimeter players. The roster also features intriguing backcourt pieces like LaMelo Ball and Ayo Dosunmu, giving LeBron the ideal scenario of surrounding himself with young, dynamic playmakers to control the tempo of the game. And to sweeten the pot, there's a highly unique off-court detail. Both Wolves head coach Chris Finch and LeBron James are die-hard vocal fans of the Ohio State athletic program, creating an instant cultural connection right out of the gate in the locker room. Finally, we arrive at the last heavyweight on this list of landing spots, the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers burned through most of their lucrative mid-level exceptions, locking up high-impact talent like Anthony Simons and Dean Wade in recent weeks, meaning that to the surprise of absolutely no one on this list, they also only have that same $3.9 million vet minimum to offer LeBron. But look at the tactical fit of this 76ers roster. It's a squad loaded with established stars, capable of insulating and balancing LeBron James's game in brilliant ways. Last season, defying all expectations for his age, LeBron was one of the most dominant players in the entire league in transition and fast break points. And the 76ers have a speed demon in Tyrese Maxey and an explosive rookie in VJ Edgecombe to push the pace to an absurd degree. Defensively, he would have the luxury of tough lockdown wings like Jaylen Brown and Dean Wade to handle the heavy lifting out front. And anchoring the paint, he'd have none other than Joel Embiid, another 2024 Olympic teammate. Embiid gives LeBron the physical, high-scoring presence of a classic dominant center, mirroring the exact blueprint LeBron used to capture the 2020 championship alongside Anthony Davis in LA. On top of all that, Philadelphia carries an overwhelming historical narrative. The franchise is currently suffering through a painful 43-year championship drought. They haven't reached a conference finals or an NBA finals in a quarter of a century. For a player completely obsessed with legacy and the greatest of all time debate, rolling into Philly and serving as the catalyst to break that historic curse would elevate LeBron James to a level of sports immortality that no other living athlete could touch. Looking at this entire chessboard unfolding before our eyes, it's clear that LeBron James' current decision is, without a doubt, the strangest, most fascinating, and most unconventional move of his legendary 24-year career. He is no longer bound by max contracts. He is no longer concerned with proving his financial worth to billionaire owners. He has broken the NBA system by putting himself in a position where almost every legitimate title contender can fit him onto their roster for the price of a bench warmer. It is a stroke of genius and at the same time terrifying for the rest of the league. The king of basketball is on the loose. He is hungry for rings, and he has turned the free agent market into a survival game where only the most perfect, intelligent basketball project will win the prize. The entire league is holding its breath to see where this monumental piece lands. If you're trying to decode what's happening behind the scenes in the NBA, drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next breakdowns. And let me know in the comments, which team do you think LeBron signs with, and what is his true motivation?